So here it is. Probably like a lot of people's, it's just spent its winter in this little tiny shed. My caved in roof. It snowed a lot a couple years ago and it caved in. But see if it starts. Parking brake. A lot of people don't know that. If you set the parking brake, you don't actually have to be on the machine. You can still just crank it over. So, it did start, and that's a pretty big thing. Well, I shouldn't say it started. It cranks. A lot of times, you're not going to actually see it crank because the batteries run low during the winter and whatnot. So, biggest thing to watch out for. This was free. I don't know. So your battery, just sitting in the cold in the winter, they run down. A lot of people pull them out for the winter and put them inside, which is a good thing to do. The best thing to do is actually have them on a charger. Just let them trickle charge all winter. Then it doesn't really matter if they're in the cold or not, just as long as you've got some voltage going through. But some people pull them out, put them in the basement, then they put them back in, and then they don't tighten these, and then you've got a fully charged battery and it won't start. So the biggest thing is make sure your cables are tight. And then the first start of the season is always going to be really hard because the fuel tank is back there and the fuel pump is up here, and it's got to pull fuel all the way through those dry lines into the engine. So it's going to take a while to start. You just have to be patient. Don't run the battery down, or if you do, put it on a charger. But you just kind of have to crank it, full choke, obviously, and then crank it, see if it starts. Takes a while. I should have pre-started this. Oh man. Whoa! It started. Fantastic. Here's another thing. I was taught for the first the first 23 years of my life, until I learned this last week, but I was taught that you should always throttle an engine down before you shut it off, but that's not the truth. That's not the case. I was at a dealer training, and one of the guys mentioned that they've got anti-backfire solenoids in them, so you want to just have them all the way up before you shut it off, which is interesting. I didn't know that. Oh man, this thing, a little bit of a digression here, but this thing stinks like mice, which makes sense because it's been in the shed. They like to make little nests up in here, up in the engine shroud, and if they do nest in there, it blocks the cooling fins. Oh, you can see there's a little... Ugh, I hate mice. I'll have to pull that apart and clean it, but they nest up in here, and then if there's a nest in there, the air can't flow, so then it overheats and it runs hot. And that's something we do quite a bit, especially in the springtime, is clean nests out of cooling fins. I hate mice. It stinks. So if your mower stinks, if it smells weird, or if it smells like mice, if you know what the smell of mice is, which if you know, you know, and you can't unsmell it. Ugh. But if it stinks, if it smells bad, if it doesn't smell like it should, it's probably got a mouse nest in it, and it's to the point where I can walk up to a mower and start it, or even just before starting it, I can smell a smell of just sticky, burnt mouse nest. It's disgusting. Yeah. Yeah. But it's got to get cleaned out. It's got to cool itself. Engines have to cool themselves, and I will be doing that with that little simplicity. Also, putting some air in the tires. I don't know if you can see that, but it's listing a little bit. There you go. And if it doesn't start, you can schedule an appointment online, cscrepair.com, or shoot us a text. Yeah. Thanks for watching.